à partir de PACIS TV. Ta vie renouvelée en Jésus-Christ. PACIS TV, ta vie renouvelée en Jésus-Christ.
Hello, hello. How are you this morning? What a beautiful Saturday to be in the studio again. For all the PACIS TV lovers, the children watching me at home, how are you today? So today, it's that time again, the time of the week that we have to sit together and have our Bible story. So it's story time. So wherever you're watching me from, sit there, relax, and enjoy our Bible story from the beginning to the end. I'm your host and storyteller, Celestina War. Be my guest. Now, today our story is very interesting, very, very interesting. It's about the Good Samaritan. Who do you think is a Good Samaritan? Whom do you think is a Good Samaritan? Because Jesus said the two greatest commandments: love the Lord your God with all your heart, mind, and soul. Love your neighbor as you love yourself. So there is this man who went to Jesus and asked Jesus, who is my neighbor? He wanted to find out who is his neighbor. And the same question I ask you today, who is your neighbor? Who do you think is your neighbor? So, if you want to find out who is your neighbor, please sit there, relax, and enjoy the story from the beginning to the end for you to find out more who is a Good Samaritan and who is your neighbor. So, long time ago, as Jesus was teaching the people, many people came to him with different questions, and they could ask, how do I inherit the kingdom of God? How do I become among the chosen ones of the Lord? And Jesus could answer them with different teachings called parables. Jesus was using parables to answer questions and to teach the people. So one of the lawyers one time came to him and asked him, Lord, you've said that we should love ourselves as we should love our neighbors as we love ourselves. Then who is my neighbor? Then Jesus told him this parable. And it's the same story I'm going to tell you today. Once upon a time, there was a Jew, a man, traveling from Jerusalem heading to Jericho. So he was having his fun time walking on the road slowly, heading to Jericho, having his good time. You know, sometimes as we walk on the road, we enjoy the scenarios, whatever that we see, the scenes. So as he was walking, the place was hilly with beautiful scenes. So he walked and walked. And at one point, he reached a place and boom, people came from behind a bush. He didn't see them coming. And they attacked him. They took everything he had and left him with nothing. And because these people were so bad, they thought this man was going to follow them to where they are going with his property. So they had to beat him up. So they beat him and left him there to die. So the man bled. He was lying on the road, bleeding and with a lot of pain on his body because he was thoroughly beaten by these bad people. Do you think it's good to beat others and take away their things? No, it is not godly. So this man was attacked and was beaten and left to die by the roadside by these bad people. So he laid there. He couldn't walk. He couldn't talk. He couldn't do anything. So the road was bad, and he laid there. It was a lonely path. Nobody was passing there. But then, after some time, a priest was passing by there. So when he reached near where this man was lying, he saw the man. And, ooh, what's that? That's a person. And because he was beaten, like blood was all over, you could see even from a distance that this person needs help. The priest crossed to the other side of the road so that he might pretend like, I didn't see anything on the road. So he walked on and never bothered to go near the man to find out, is he alive? Does he need help? Or is there a way I can help this man? He crossed the road. Oh my goodness, that's a bad attitude. When you see your friends fall, do you just run away? Or you help them rise up? So for him, he saw the man, crossed the road, and walked away, left the man there to die. And this is a priest. He was heading to the temple, and I think in his heart he said, oh no, I must go to the temple first. I cannot help him. Maybe when I come back. So he crossed the road and walked away, leaving that man there on the road without even bothering to cross and see like what has happened to this man. So he pretended like he never saw anything. So he continued with his journey. This man lying on the road here, on a rocky road, with no one to help him, with nothing to drink, with nothing to eat, with wounds all over, with nothing to cover himself. They tore even his clothes and took everything he had. So he laid there, waiting for God's mercy. Then a Levite came. And these are the people who are known to be helping the priests in their services in the temple. So when he came, he also saw the man. And when he saw the man, he decided, oh no, what should I do? For him, actually, he did not cross the road. He just went and passed by there. You know what he did? He slowed down and walked a little closer to the man, but then kept walking without helping at all. He's also heading to the church, to the temple, but he saw a man lying on the road who is in dire need of help, but he decided, I'm not going to help. I'm late for church. And he decided to walk away. So he also walked away, leaving the man on the road to die. Oh, do you think the priest and the Levites were good people? Were they good neighbors or good Samaritans? Oh no. How could they leave someone on the road who needs help, who is crying out? And they could see he had wounds all over and blood. And they just walked away. So the man laid there for hours and hours with no help. Then all of a sudden, there came a Samaritan. Remember, back then, Samaritans and the Jews were never friends. Actually, Jews hated the Samaritans. They used to talk badly of them. And they used to mistreat them. So, there is no relationship. They were not friends at all. And remember, the man lying on the road here is a Jew. And here comes a Samaritan. He was on his way, on his journey. He's a trade person, so he was going for his business. Then he saw this man. Oh, he was moved with pity. he stopped and went close by to check what has happened to this brother of mine. He did not consider that this man was a Jew and they were enemies. No, for him, he saw a brother in need. And the Good Samaritan went close to this man and checked on him, and he removed some of his oil and started cleaning the wounds with what he had. He was so compassionate. So he bound up the man's wounds, putting him on his donkey. He brought him to an inn. Remember, he tried to minister some first aid on him, and then he was like, no, I cannot leave this man on the road here to die. I have to take him somewhere. So he was having his donkey. He took this man, put him on top of his donkey, and then drove him to an inn. Now, these are three different people. The first one was a priest who saw the man, crossed the road on the other side, and did not even want to bother to check, why is this man lying on the road? A Levite came. For him, he walked slowly close by. He did not cross the road, but he did not bother to check or try to help. And now here comes a Samaritan who is an enemy. And he sees this man and he says, no, this man needs help. I need to help him. And he started cleaning up the man's wounds. And then even after cleaning him up, he did not leave him on the road. No. He took the man on his donkey and took him to a nearby inn. Then, when he reached the inn, because of the compassion he had, he took the man there and talked to the man and said, take care of him, and even paid with some of his money and said, please treat this man, and when I come back from my journey, I will come and clear the bill. Imagine. Now you see, this is a Samaritan who is not a friend of the Jew, but he decided to help this man. So on his donkey, he brought him to an inn where he cared for him till he was better. So he left him there because he had to continue with his journey. He was a tradesman, and told the owner of the inn, please take care of him until I come back. When I come back, I will pay the remaining balance. So he left this man here being taken care of, and he went on in his journey. So the next day, the Samaritan took out enough money so that the man could stay at the inn until he was well enough to leave. He paid the owner of the inn and left and said he will come back to pay for any extra charges. He did not leave this man on the road to die. For him, he was moved by compassion. He was compassionate and took the man whom he did not know and took him to an inn to be treated. So whom do you think is a neighbor? Or whom do you think is a good Samaritan? Now, this Jew man was on his journey and he was attacked and was left on the road to die. His fellow Jews, the priests, the Levites, they all came and passed by and did not even bother to check on, oh, what's happening to our brother? He's a fellow Jew. They left him on the road to die. But then, when the Samaritan came, he saw a brother, he saw a man in need. He did not look at him like a Jew. I'm a Samaritan, and this one is a Jew. Why should I bother? Let him die if he's to die. But for him, he stood and started cleaning the wounds, and he bandaged the man. And even after doing all this, he did not leave the man on the road in the cold to die. He took the man, put him on his donkey, and started walking, looking for a place where they could get a shelter. So they went to a nearby inn. Inn is like an hotel. So when they went in, he paid to the owner and said, this man was hurt and was on the road. Kindly take care of him. I'm a business person and I'm going on a business trip. So he gave the inn owner some money and said, take care of him. And when I come back from my journey, I shall pay for the extra cost. Whatever that you will use on him, I will pay. So after Jesus had finished telling this parable, he asked the people who were listening to him, whom do you think is a good Samaritan? And now, who is your neighbor? And they all said, the Samaritan man. The good Samaritan. Yes, it's true. He was the neighbor. He was the good Samaritan. Because for him, when he saw somebody lying on the road, he did not pass by. He stopped and helped the person who is in need. So who is our neighbor? Our neighbor is any person who is in need of our help. Not only because in English, if you ask what is a neighbor, who is a neighbor, you'll say the person who lives next to us, or the person who sits next to us, or the person who is close to us. Yes, that's also fine. But in this case, Jesus meant, love your neighbor as you love yourself. The unconditional love. Loving your neighbor means you help all those who are in need. So the Good Samaritan helped a person who is in need. So he became a good neighbor. Because when he saw a person in need, he did not pass by. He helped this person. So, you who is watching me at home, the children watching at home, how do you help the people in need? Are you a good Samaritan? Or are you a Levite? Or are you a priest? When you see someone in need, when you see a friend falls down, you start laughing and walking away. Or you just pass by and say, hey, 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 good for you. And then you go away. Or you come and help your friend to stand up and say sorry and help them clean the dirt on their clothes. So who are you today? From the story that we have just heard, who is a good neighbor and who is a good Samaritan? So a neighbor is any person who is in need of our help. And when you help anybody who is in need, you're a good Samaritan. You've helped the people who need your help. You've supported a person who needed your support. So, are you going to be a good neighbor? Are you going to be a good Samaritan? Or when you see others, you're going to walk away? So this is a parable that Jesus told the lawyer who had come asking him, what should I do to inherit the kingdom of God? Remember, Jesus said, you shall love the Lord your God with all your heart, with all your soul, with all your strength, and with all your mind, and your neighbor as yourself. So, if you love your neighbor, you will not really hurt them. So, Jesus gave out this parable in order for us to understand truly who is our neighbor and who is the Good Samaritan. So in what ways can we be good neighbors? I challenge you at home, make a list, write them down. How can you be a good neighbor? How can we be good neighbors? Write a list. Challenge yourself. Okay? You write down, I want to be a good neighbor. How am I going to be a good neighbor? So you write down your list, and then you can also listen to the song of the Good Samaritan in order to know what are you supposed to do. So you can also read through newspapers or watch news and find examples of modern Good Samaritans. There are a lot happening in our society today, a lot happening in the world today. So through news or through newspapers or magazines, you can also identify the modern Good Samaritan. So this is a challenge I'm leaving you with today as a Saturday. May you find the Good Samaritan in your neighborhood, in your society today. And also don't forget to write down what are the things that you are supposed to do to become a good neighbor. So, and a Good Samaritan. Thank you so much for watching our story time today. I hope you learned something and you're going to practice to be a Good Samaritan and not a priest and not a Levite. God bless you. Thank you so much for watching story time. Until next Sunday, stay tuned. Keep watching PACIS TV.
Sur la mesure que le temps passe, le progrès a toujours besoin d'un rang de lancement. Une onde numérique ayant pour objectif de répandre un bon message. Un message de paix dans toutes les nations, à partir de PACIS TV, ta vie renouvelée en Jésus-Christ. PACIS TV, ta vie renouvelée en Jésus-Christ.